I'm
as
sorry,
a diplomat.
if you're saying privately behind the scenes that you're cooking up a deal, and then you're saying publicly that this is up for Ukrainians to decide, those are two totally different things.
The Russians have repeatedly accused the United States government of interfering in Ukraine's politics.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. government has to some degree made reciprocal claims about Russia. Does not the fact that U.S. diplomats purportedly are discussing who should and should not be in a Ukrainian government hint at some possibility of U.S. interference here?
Absolutely not. It should be no surprise that U.S. officials talk about issues around the world. Of course we do. That's what you do. That's what diplomats do, and discuss especially issues where we've been closely engaged. You know, the secretary met with the opposition this weekend. He stopped by a meeting with the foreign minister. It's up to the people of Ukraine, including officials from both sides, to determine the path forward. But it shouldn't be a surprise that there are discussions about events on the ground.
This was more than discussions, though. This was two top U.S. officials that are on the ground discussing a plan that they have to broker a future government and bringing officials from the UN to kind of seal the deal. This is more than the U.S. trying to make suggestions. This is the U.S. midwifing the process.
Well, Elise, you're talking about a private diplomatic conversation. Those happen all the time. Of course, as part of private diplomatic conversations, there are discussions about what involvement the UN can have, what involvement or engagement should happen on the ground. That shouldn't be a surprise. Of course, these things are being discussed. It doesn't change the fact that it's up to the people on the ground. It is up to the people of Ukraine to determine what the path forward is.
But you're clearly trying to influence what they decide. I mean, one of the quotes is, and this is attributed to Ambassador Pyatt,
I think you reaching out directly to him
Klitschko
helps with the personality management among the three, and it gives you also a chance to move fast on all this stuff and put us behind it before they all sit down and he explains why he doesn't like it.
That's not, oh, let them figure this out. That's, gee, let's try to do this so that he won't, decide he doesn't like this plan.
Well, Arshad, it's not a secret that we're engaged with what's happening on the ground. I mean, the secretary met with the opposition this weekend. He also met with the foreign minister. As part of those discussions, you engage with what's happening, what recommendations are. They're going to choose to do it or they're not. But that's, of course, what you discuss in any meeting or conversation regardless. There's a difference between private discussions that happen in the interagency process, in the building, and what we convey publicly as a U.S. government. And we have a responsibility to convey what our position is. Of course, you're discussing a range of options on a range of issues.
But if you,
that's what you do as a diplomat.
If you're saying privately behind the scenes that you're cooking up a deal, and then you're saying publicly that this is up for Ukrainians to decide, those are two totally different things. I understand that diplomatic discussions are sensitive and you don't want everything to come out, but those are two totally different positions.
Elise, what do you think happens behind closed doors when people are discussing issues internally through the interagency?
This is not discussing issues. This is talking about a deal that the U.S. was cooking up.
I think I would disagree with you. I think you're overstating and over-qualifying a couple of minutes from a privately recorded phone call.
I want to go back to the issue about
recorded phone call now.
I'm done, Arshad.
You can see the source for these clips by clicking here.
All right.
The levity.
There's 18.5 minutes of the State Department press briefing showing the context of these clips in this video, including Matt Lee's questions, which I didn't include in the video you just watched. And you can click here to see Matt Lee challenging the vile Victoria Nuland in the video Vile Hypocrisy Exposed by Reporter Doing His Job.
You know, Matt, as you have made clear again and again in this room, we are not always consistent.
In contrast to the public declarations of concerns for democracy, people need to know about the maneuvering and manipulations behind the scenes in the service of private greed. Please use the tools below to share this video with everyone you can.